Let's make one thing clear from the start. A woman doesn't just walk away from a man she values, she disconnects first, emotionally and mentally. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If she stays with you while no longer valuing you, she's not loyal. She's tolerating you. Read that again. This isn't about blaming women. This is about waking men up to a brutal reality. When a woman no longer values you, her actions will slice deeper than her silence. Most men miss this. We think if she's not cheating or walking out, then we're fine. But that's a lie we tell ourselves to avoid facing the pain. The real damage happens when you become her emotional afterthought. When your presence is just part of her routine, like checking her phone or scrolling Instagram, that's when it starts. The slow withdrawal, the eye rolls, the lack of respect, the fake laughs, the mental checkout. And you're still trying to fix things with gifts, dates, and effort, but you're already invisible to her. You think you're building the relationship back, but she's already mourning it, like a funeral with no tears. You'll start noticing her coldness, but it won't feel like distance. It'll feel like disrespect. And what hurts the most is not the fact that she doesn't love you anymore. It's realizing she doesn't care enough to even hurt you intentionally. You're beneath reaction. Now here's the twist. Men go through this without saying a word. Society tells you to man up, not cry, and just keep pushing forward. But let me ask you something. What if the strongest move is recognizing when she's already checked out? This video is for every man who's ever tried to love a woman who stopped valuing him. Not because she's evil, but because you let your value drop in her eyes, and now you're stuck trying to win her back without realizing. You're chasing someone who's already gone. Let's break this down, section by section, and teach you what to look out for, what it means, and what to never tolerate again. Because the truth is, it's not about her leaving. It's about what she takes from you before she does. 1. She starts respecting other men more than you. Here's how you know something's off. She lights up when other men talk, but looks dead when you speak. When a woman no longer values you, respect isn't just missing. She starts handing it out to everyone else but you. You'll notice it in the little things. How she listens when a male coworker gives advice, but cuts you off mid-sentence. How she defends a male friend's opinion, but mocks yours like it's a joke. You'll start to feel like an outsider in your own relationship. At first, you'll try to brush it off. She's just in a mood, you'll tell yourself. But it keeps happening. She asks other men for help before she even considers you. She praises another guy's work ethic, ambition, or confidence. Things you used to be praised for. What changed? She did. Or more honestly, her perception of you did. A woman doesn't just stop respecting a man overnight. It's gradual. It starts when you stop leading, when you avoid confrontation to keep the peace, when you start begging for her time instead of commanding respect through presence. She sees it, she feels it, and over time she responds by putting other men on pedestals. Because someone has to take that role, right? Here's the part that cuts deep. She might not even be aware she's doing it, but you will. And it'll make you question your own worth. That's the trap. You'll try harder to prove yourself. You'll try to be nicer, more agreeable. But she doesn't want nicer. She wants a man who walks with self-respect, not one who needs her approval to feel masculine. Let me paint the scene. You're out at dinner. She mentions her work friend again, this time with a smile and a giggle. Talks about how he just gets it when it comes to business. You chime in with a thought. She dismisses it like it's nothing. You just got disrespected. But in a way, no one else noticed, except you. And the worst part? She didn't even flinch. That's the moment you realize. It's not love that's gone. It's respect. And without respect, love is just a memory. 2. Your opinions stop mattering. One of the clearest signs a woman no longer values you is this. She stops caring about what you think. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's there. In the way she nods without listening, in the way she forgets conversations you had just yesterday. Suddenly, your voice becomes background noise in your own relationship. You're talking, but nothing's landing. She hears you, but she's not listening. When a woman values a man, she may not always agree with him, but his opinion matters. She seeks it out. She considers it. She even challenges it sometimes, but she respects where it's coming from. But when that value drops, you could say the smartest thing in the world and she'd treat it like it came from a stranger. Here's what makes it worse. She'll start trusting outside opinions more than yours. You could tell her something with facts, experience, and logic. But if her friend says the opposite 10 minutes later, guess who she's running with? Not you. Because once your opinion stops carrying weight, your position in her life starts to shrink. You'll notice this in decisions too. She'll start making big moves, financial choices, trips, career changes, without including you. Not out of independence, but indifference. And you'll feel it. You'll feel like a side piece in a relationship you thought you were leading. Here's the hard pill. If your opinion no longer affects her decisions, you're not a partner. You're an observer. And a lot of men stay in this space, silently suffering, still paying the bills, still being loyal, still showing up. But deep down, they know. They're no longer being heard. They're being tolerated. Now, don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean you have to be controlling or loud to be respected. But if she no longer considers your views, if you've become a ghost in your own conversations, then you've already lost the one thing that holds a relationship together: influence. And when your influence dies, the relationship is already halfway buried. 3. She acts single in public. You know the feeling. You're standing right next to her, but the way she moves, the way she talks, the way she presents herself, you'd think she showed up alone. When a woman doesn't value you anymore, she doesn't need to say it directly. She just stops representing you. She stops carrying herself like someone who's in a relationship worth protecting. It's subtle, but clear. You'll see it in how she talks to other men. A little too friendly, a little too open, a little too flirty. You'll see it in how quick she is to say I instead of we. You're not a partner in her story anymore. You're a background character. And the worst part? She'll make you feel crazy for noticing it. You'll bring it up, and she'll throw the classic lines. You're being insecure. I'm just friendly. You always make something out of nothing. But deep down, you know the truth. She doesn't act like this when she respects the man she's with. Because when a woman values her relationship, she's aware of how she carries herself. She guards her space. She honors the presence of her man, even when he's not around. But now, she dresses for attention, not for you. She posts thirst traps with captions that scream single energy. She goes out with her friends and leaves you on red. And in public, you're just there. No touch, no attention, no acknowledgement. She'll introduce you like a distant friend, if at all. And this doesn't mean she's cheating, but it does mean she's stopped protecting what you two built. And that stings, because the love may not be completely gone, but the loyalty, the representation, it's fading fast. And here's the thing most men don't realize. A woman acting single doesn't always mean she wants someone else. Sometimes it means she wants to feel like she doesn't belong to you anymore. That's what hurts. When you become invisible next to her in public, that's not an accident. That's a message, loud and clear. 4. Her phone is now more exciting than your presence. Let's be honest, when her screen gets more eye contact than you do, you've already lost her attention. You walk in the room. She barely looks up. She scrolls. She giggles. She types. But when you speak, one-word answers, blank stares, delayed responses like you're interrupting her real world. And that real world? It's in her phone now, not in the relationship. Now, before you point fingers, let's pause for a second. Because some of you men helped create this distance. You stopped leading with presence. You got predictable. You made the relationship feel routine. Same conversations, same complaints. No excitement, no challenge. So now, her dopamine comes from notifications, not from you. That's on you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When a woman no longer values your energy, she seeks stimulation elsewhere. And these days, that elsewhere fits in the palm of her hand. Social media, group chats, validation loops, all feeding her emotions while you sit there thinking silence equals peace. It doesn't. Silence equals disconnection. And the worst part? She used to light up when she saw you. Now she lights up when she sees a message. You've got to ask yourself, when did her phone start making her smile more than your presence? When did you stop being interesting to the woman you once captured? Because women don't suddenly switch off. They drift away when they feel unseen. And yes, sometimes we give them every reason to drift. So here's your wake-up call. Put the controller down. Stop waiting for her to come back to life on her own. Lead, re-engage, shake things up, or walk away with your dignity. Because if you're sitting in the same room with her and she's laughing at her phone while you're slowly dying inside, that's not a relationship. That's emotional starvation. And it will destroy your self-worth if you let it go unchecked. You are not an option. You're not a background prop to her digital life. You're either her focus or you're fading. Decide what role you're going to play before she replaces your presence with a playlist, a group chat, or worse, another man who makes her feel alive again. 5. You get intimacy only when she wants something. Let's stop sugarcoating this. When intimacy becomes a transaction, your relationship is already in survival mode. You feel it. She's distant most days, cold, distracted, not in the mood. You go weeks without connection. And then suddenly, she's affectionate. She's touchy. She's interested. But only when there's a motive behind it. Maybe she wants a favor. Maybe she needs help with something. Maybe there's a bill coming up. Or maybe she just wants to keep the peace so you don't act out. Whatever the reason, it's not love. It's strategy. Men don't like to admit it, but deep down we know when intimacy feels real and when it's being used. And when a woman no longer values you, physical affection doesn't come from desire. It comes from manipulation. It's a reward system. You behave, you get some. You say no, it's withheld. Just like that, you've become a trained dog in your own home. And the scary part is, you'll convince yourself it's normal. You'll say things like, she's just stressed, she's tired, it'll get better. But deep down, you know the truth. She's not withholding because she's tired. She's withholding because she's not emotionally connected anymore. And when she does give it to you, it doesn't feel like passion. It feels like a favor. That's not how a man should live. That's not what you deserve. Because when a woman values you, affection isn't earned, it's offered. Not because you bought her something, not because you fixed something, but because she feels drawn to you, connected to you, proud to be close to you. If you have to perform just to receive intimacy, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a silent negotiation. And guess what? You're losing every time. So ask yourself, is she connecting with you because she wants you or because she wants something from you? Because once intimacy turns into leverage, love has already left the building. And if you don't wake up and draw a line, you'll become more useful than loved. And that's a role no man should settle for. 6. She makes you the villain in every story. Here's a painful truth. When a woman no longer values you, everything becomes your fault. Suddenly, you're always the reason she's upset. You're the one who doesn't understand. You're the one who never listens. And somehow, in every conflict, big or small, you're the villain. Even when you're the one trying to fix things, trying to communicate, trying to be the bigger person, she'll twist the story until you're wearing the black hat. Sound familiar? This isn't about taking no accountability. If you're a man, you should own your actions. But what we're talking about here is different. It's when she refuses to see you as anything but the problem, no matter what the issue is. That's a sign of emotional detachment, and worse, emotional manipulation. You start noticing patterns. She tells her friends only her side of the story. She conveniently leaves out how she disrespected you first. She repeats the same narratives. He never does this. He always does that. And none of it includes nuance. Over time, she paints a picture of herself as the exhausted victim. And you, the selfish, clueless guy who just doesn't get it. And the more she does it, the more you start to question yourself. You wonder if you really are the bad guy. You start over-apologizing. You walk on eggshells just to keep the peace. You lose your confidence. You forget who you were before the gaslighting began. Let's be clear. When a woman values you, she protects your image, even when she's mad at you. She doesn't tear you down to win an argument. She doesn't disrespect you just to feel emotionally superior. She fights fair. She tells the whole truth, not just the version that makes her look better. But when she's done with you emotionally, she needs a reason to justify her behavior. So she rewrites the narrative. And you become the villain so she can play the victim. If you feel like you're constantly defending yourself, not from strangers, but from the woman you once trusted, that's not love anymore. That's a slow character assassination. And the longer you stay, the more you lose yourself trying to prove to someone who's already made up their mind. She compares you, even indirectly. One of the biggest gut punches a man can feel in a relationship is when he starts getting compared, even if it's not direct. She doesn't have to say, "I wish you were more like him." No, she's smarter than that. She'll say things like, he always remembers his girl's birthday. I saw a couple on TikTok. Look what he did for her. My friend's boyfriend just surprised her with a trip. So thoughtful. On the surface, it sounds casual, just conversation. But underneath, it's a shot, a jab, a signal that you're falling short in her eyes, and she's already mentally lining you up against other men. Here's the harsh truth most guys don't want to admit. When a woman values you, she doesn't compare you, she appreciates you. Even if you're not perfect, even if you're not doing Instagram boyfriend stuff, she sees your effort, your consistency, your presence. She sees you. But when she stops valuing you, everything you're not starts becoming more important than everything you are. And here's the thing, you'll feel it. Even when she's not saying it out loud, her energy changes. She gets quieter when talking about your wins, and louder when talking about what other men are doing. You start feeling like you're constantly trying to measure up to an invisible standard you were never even consulted on. And what does that do to a man? It drains him. It makes him question his value. It makes him feel like no matter what he does, it'll never be enough. Because she's already romanticizing another version of you in someone else's body. That's emotional betrayal, even if she never touches another man. So here's the bottom line. When comparison enters the relationship, resentment isn't far behind. And once a man starts feeling like he's in competition inside his own relationship, it's only a matter of time before he checks out emotionally. You deserve a woman who uplifts you, not one who secretly wishes you were someone else. 8. She no longer fears losing you. Let's make this brutally clear. When a woman no longer fears losing you, she's already emotionally gone. You see, when a woman values a man, there's a certain awareness in her actions. She thinks twice before disrespecting him. She checks herself before crossing a line, not out of fear, but out of respect and care. She wants to protect the bond because losing him would hurt her just as much. But when that fear disappears, everything changes. She stops caring how her words affect you. She stops worrying if her attitude pushes you away. She starts acting however she wants, because deep down, she believes you won't go anywhere. And that's when you realize the truth. She's no longer investing in the relationship. She's managing it, keeping it around for convenience, for comfort, for optics. But the fire, the fear of losing something real, gone. This is where a lot of men lose themselves. You start overcompensating. You get nicer, more patient, more forgiving. You ignore the red flags. You tolerate the mood swings. You start begging, not always with words, but with behavior. You stop demanding respect and start trying to earn back a place you never should have lost. And guess what? That just confirms what she already suspects. You're not going anywhere, no matter how she treats you. That's dangerous. Because once a woman feels like you need her more than she needs you, the power dynamic flips. She stops showing effort. She starts testing boundaries. She becomes cold, distant, sometimes even cruel. Not because she hates you, but because your presence has become predictable. A man who is easy to keep is rarely seen as a prize. And this isn't about playing games or being toxic. This is about self-respect. When a woman no longer fears losing you, you have to be the one who reminds her that it's possible. Not with threats, not with drama, with action. Walk away from disrespect. Detach from emotional laziness. Show her and yourself that your peace is more important than her presence. Because once a woman stops fearing your absence, she'll stop valuing your existence. 9. She gives more energy to strangers than you. You ever watch her light up in conversations with people she barely knows, and then turn around and give you silence, attitude, or indifference? It's a hard pill to swallow, but here's the truth. When a woman gives her best to the world and gives you the scraps, she no longer values the role you play in her life. You'll see her be bubbly, kind, playful, even charming with co-workers, waiters, friends, online followers. But when it's just you two, she's cold, short-tempered, checked out. The vibe changes instantly. And the worst part? You start to wonder, what did I do wrong? Why is everyone else getting the version of her I used to know? That's the trap. Because when a woman no longer values you, she no longer sees a reason to impress you. The respect fades. The effort disappears. The energy she once used to keep you is now redirected to impress others, entertain strangers, or maintain an image for people who don't even know her. And you're the emotional dumping ground. You get the mood swings, the complaints, the tiredness. She's exhausted with you, but full of life everywhere else. Let's be real. A woman who values her man makes sure he gets the best of her, not just the leftovers after everyone else has taken a piece. And it's not about always being cheerful or fake. It's about effort, emotional availability, presence, respect. If she's posting for the world, texting everyone back, laughing in every other conversation, but when it's your turn, she's too busy or not in the mood, she's made a choice. And that choice should not be ignored. Because here's the truth. Love isn't just about what she says. It's about who she prioritizes. And if you're no longer getting prioritized, if you're the one always waiting for her attention, her kindness, her time, then brother, you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-sided performance. A man should never have to compete with strangers for his woman's attention. Remember that. 10. She stays, but treats you like a burden. This one is the quiet killer. She doesn't leave. She doesn't cheat. She doesn't even argue much anymore. She just stays. But every day you feel it, you've become a burden to the woman who once looked at you like her world. She sighs when you speak. She rolls her eyes when you ask for time. She treats your needs like annoyances, not responsibilities of a partner. And here's what makes it so dangerous. Because she's still around, you convince yourself things are fine. But deep down, you know, she's not really with you. She's just present, physically there, emotionally gone. When a woman no longer values you, she doesn't need to yell or threaten to show it. She just starts acting like your presence is a chore. Your affection feels inconvenient. Your attention feels unwanted. You start feeling like an interruption to her peace instead of the reason she feels it. You'll catch her being more patient with strangers than with you, more forgiving of others, while holding you to standards she doesn't even communicate. And slowly you start to shrink. You question yourself. You try harder. You stop asking for things just to avoid the tension. You become smaller to avoid becoming more of a burden. But here's the truth, and you need to hear it. You are not too much. You are not a burden. You are just in the wrong place. A man should never feel like he has to tiptoe in his own relationship. You deserve peace. You deserve warmth. You deserve someone who sees your value and shows it, even on the hard days. If she stays, but constantly makes you feel like you're asking for too much by simply existing, she's already emotionally checked out, but still benefiting from your loyalty. Don't confuse her presence for commitment, and don't mistake her silence for peace. Sometimes, the most damaging relationships are the ones that don't even argue anymore. They just exist. And a man who accepts being treated like a burden eventually forgets how to be a man. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some women don't leave because they love you. They stay because it's easy, until someone they truly value comes along. Let that sink in. If you felt any of what was said in this video, don't stay silent. Drop a comment. Share what hit the hardest. Tell your story. I read everything, and if you're going through it, I'm reaching back. We build from experience, not ego. This isn't just content. It's connection. You're not alone. We're men. We lead. We grow. We wake up. Let's talk about it.